4 seed. That's a pretty rough draw for you guys.
Yeah, anybody who knows Diddy from his Super Mario Sunshine runs, world record holder in any percent there, will know that he's certainly a talented speedrunner, so you can expect good times out of him.
And it does look like we are off. All 4 racers have begun. Skip through some cutscenes. It's like, I've heard some people occasionally complain about, like, man, it's like 30 seconds or so till we get to control Mario. I'm like, dude, did you play Sunshine? Please, don't get this.
30 seconds is nothing.
Yeah.
Just try playing a Zelda game.
Here we are in Cap Kingdom. We're going to be starting off without Cappy here. Just going to be showing off, like, kind of your main mode of transportation when you just got a stretch of land where you don't need to make any jumps. We're going to be rolling a lot. Kind of a unique movement mechanic to Super Mario Odyssey. So it's to do it quickly, you can either mash the B button or you can just spam your like you're going to be doing throughout the game. You're going to be doing a lot of shaking of your Pro Controller, Joy-Cons, whatever you got. You're going to get a bit of a workout on your arms playing this game. Looking like all 4 of the racers pretty close coming up here on the bridge. Nobody clipped through the bridge, so that's good.
Coming up on our first capture here of the game is a frog. We use it to complete this section. Quick fun fact, it is possible to make all of these jumps without the frog, as people doing the low capture challenge have found, but it's really hard and it's slower, so there's no point in doing it.
I need to sit down. Are the no capture runs pretty cool? I've never sat down and watched one.
I haven't seen one myself, but I imagine they'd be pretty interesting.
It's 15 captures is what people are usually doing right now, but it's in a weird kind of limbo state because one of the captures can be skipped. In Bowser's Kingdom, we could skip a pylon, but we have to do 50, and it's like a frame-perfect trick, and we still don't understand how it works fully, and so it's only ever been done twice. So no one wants to do a 15 capture run because it's not the minimum, but a 14 capture run is like almost impossible. So no one's going to go for that. So no one's really doing runs.
Did look like in that fight right there, Ivan was able to get the jump on Topper's hat. When he's about to do kind of the shuffling of the hats, it is consistent. The one he goes down with, that is actually the real Topper there. It doesn't like swap it or anything. But he's able to get the jump on the hat, which ends that phase immediately. And then you go into a few more hits. So well executed there by Ivan. Looks like the other 3 players all practically tied right now. If it was between Johanian and Krameht right there, we'd have practically a sync. Other minor note, everyone might wonder why they're playing on the Japanese version. This is everybody's playing on whatever version of the game they have, but they're just playing in a Japanese language. It saves about 15 seconds over English.
So collecting our first Power Moon here. We got 123 more, so stick tight with us. And
the pace does pick up after this. Cap Kingdom, we could not collect any moons, actually, so don't worry.
Yeah, typically you'll start to see the racers start to separate themselves in the Sand Kingdom, because these first 2 kingdoms are pretty short, and other than the Dino Jump, which we'll see coming up soon here, there's not anything particularly tricky going on in these kingdoms, but the Sand Kingdom is where the difficulty really starts to ramp up.
Ivan up to the T-Rex first. Let's see. So normally the game wants you to like run around the base of the mountain, but instead we're going to try to hit this convenient trampoline, bounce up with the T-Rex. He's not going to make that, unfortunately. Ivan drops all the way back down and is able to grab the T-Rex again. So that puts him back basically tied. Of course, here we are. Krameht actually takes the lead in this race on the bottom, the Group M. Ivan does get up second try.
Yeah, thankfully. Sometimes when you miss that the first time, it becomes quite the hassle to try to get it to work a second attempt, and you kind of wind up spinning in circles there for a minute, wasting a lot of time. But thankfully, he was able to get it there.
Am I the only one not seeing any racers right now?
Nah, I'm not either.
Okay.
Some dimensions were cut off, but
I'm seeing a very thin line on the left side of the screen. I want to promise you guys, this is just an amazing race going on right now. Probably the greatest we've ever seen in history. Okay. I can see one of them. We're getting it. A few technical difficulties, guys. Don't worry. Again, not much separation is going to happen here in the Cascade Kingdom. Hopefully, we can get it back up before we get into the meat of the run, really starting in the Sand Kingdom.
Trying to put on the Odyssey overlay, reformatting it for 4 players, as this is not a normal format for the races.
I know in terms of Ivan going through that. I had in my tournament match the other day with Mashy. I felt confident about winning the match, but then I messed up the T-Rex jump for about 30 seconds. I ended up PBing in the race, but it was a low 112. Would have definitely had the 111 if it wasn't for T-Rex bounce and the 3-cycle Mecha Wiggler. Just that T-Rex bounce can be pretty tilting after you miss it the first time. It's incredible how a foot can just walk over it.
That just goes to show you, for the newer speedrunners out there, don't always reset your runs if you make a big mistake in the beginning, because typically when you're starting out, you'll have a lot of time to improve later on. So kind of just try to get through runs and hopefully make up that time later.
So it looks like they're still working on the overlay bit here. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys.
Sorry about that. I had to take a phone call. Let's see here. Still having no stream back for us.
All right, word from the admin says it'll be back up soon. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we wait here, we've got a lot of Mario Odyssey action going on today throughout the rest of
quite a bit today.
So, I mean, as you can see, we're doing 2 races at once here just because the schedule is so jam-packed. And we actually have 2 more races coming up at 4 p.m., 2 more races at 6 p.m. This is all Eastern time, by the way. A race at 7:30, one at 8, one at 9. So, yeah, we got a lot of Mario coming the rest of today.
Do last until the end of December, and then once all those matches are finished, we will have the bracket stage in January. There we go.
Oh, there we go. All right, so we're seeing a bunch of people at the top of this hill. Let's see how many tries it takes these runners to get it. SWC, he got it second try. Ivan first try. Krameht first try. And we have Johanian coming up to it. We'll see what their moon counts are, because there's a lot of different routes going around for Sand Kingdom right now. Again, the main structure of this game, you would think it would have very specific goals, like you have to beat a boss or something to get out of a kingdom. Instead, no. As long as you get the required amount of moons, in this case for Sand being 16, you can move on. You just leave the kingdom. You don't have to bring peace to the kingdom or anything. But we've got a lot of racers very close here.
Sand Kingdom, one example where we don't really even do much of the story. Skip all the boss fights that are going on here because it's just much faster to run around and grab the loose moons that are spread throughout.
Yeah, you'll notice in the game how there are the moons where you don't have like the big animations, kind of these like smaller looking moons almost. But there's also the story moons that give you the longer cutscenes and animations. Obviously, those are longer, so we want to avoid them. You can't do that in every single kingdom. Some of them, there just aren't a lot of options. But Sand is kind of, like a few other kingdoms in this game, just really opened up for you. You're just running around the desert finding moons. So we actually don't get a single story moon here. And it does look like Johanian carrying that bullet bill with that manipulation all the way over to the moon, sitting up there on the tower.
We'll be coming up on probably one of the bigger differences runners have in their Sand Kingdom routes, and that's whether or not they go for the Sphinx. And there are a lot of ways you can go about this. You can, as SWC just did, you just talk to the Sphinx and it's going to go in. You can clip in there, but a lot of people don't do that because it's a frame perfect clip and tough to do in a race setting like this. But some people will skip the Sphinx altogether, and that won't change too much. They'll just have to get a moon at the end of the Sand Kingdom to make up for it, and they'll have less coins, so they'll have to kind of route coins in because they need 200 coins total to buy 2 moons throughout the run. We'll buy 1 in Wooded Kingdom and 1 in Snow Kingdom. So you gotta just keep your coin count in mind if you don't go to the Sphinx, or it could really bite you in the butt later.
It might have looked like Krameht had a decent lead on Ivan right there before those couple of mishaps, getting the bullet bill over to the block, but Ivan and him doing a little bit different routes. Ivan only needs 3 more moons as opposed to Krameht's 4 more moons he needs. We didn't have the stream up. I think that might be an indicator that Krameht potentially missed the bird or he doesn't get the bird in the town. You can either get the bird while you're getting a couple of the moons up by like the tower or the rumble from the sandy floor, or you can get him now in the oasis, but it's kind of preference with how your movement goes throughout the run. So Ivan's down to just the Notes Moon, whereas Krameht, taking a couple tries to get this, doesn't really matter because he's waiting for that bird to come over anyways. Unfortunately, Krameht loses the bird. That is an absolute disaster situation, not what you want to see.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what a good backup here is going to be.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a moon off the top of my head. I mean, potentially employees only.
Yeah, that's probably what I would go for, but that's going to set him back quite a bit.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Very close race until that mishap. You wonder if he missed the bird both in the town and in the oasis. That'd be very frustrating. A very frustrating kill to swallow. Looks like, yeah, he is heading back. Let's see what he elects to do. He's kind of running around. I think he isn't sure which one he wants to do. He's going to go for slots instead. Probably a negligible difference. That is 10 more coins he's going to have to give up, but
that's no big deal in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, to note, though, I don't think he did Sphinx because he's sitting now only at 90 coins. So something that's already a somewhat tight route is now just a little bit tighter.
Yeah. He'll have to make sure to try to... Well, I know there is a coin roll in Lake Kingdom that he could get to give him those 10 coins back, but we'll see if he knows about that or he goes for it.
Obviously, a very frustrating turn of events for Krameht there. Looking like he was kind of sticking right neck and neck with Ivan, basically. He was only going to be a little bit behind. A typical any percent run, it depends obviously on the skill level. All these players, their personal bests are between a high 110 and a 117, a low 117. So, could always
if we just good old time right now on speedrun.com. 761 runs. So the run in place 380 has a time of 124.45. So that's your answer. Typical. They're all putting in a lot of hard work to lower their times down below that average.
I think that 110 to 117 range is kind of a good representation of the entrance in this tournament. There's a lot of racers that are kind of in between those times, which is kind of why we're seeing a lot of close races throughout so far.
All right, so we got a lot of Lake Kingdom, one of the smaller kingdoms in the realm. You only need 8, and it's one of them we're actually going to elect to do the story moons because we're going to grab 5 quick moons and then go up and just fight the boss. Which, if you watch Ivan's screen right now in the bottom left, as soon as he takes the hat off, normally the game wants you to like hit the hats, then jump off them, giving you a spin jump in the air, and then you lower down slowly to his head. Instead, if you just time them when he shows off his head, you can get in the hits right there. Quick fight there by Ivan. A little bit of trouble here we're having for SWC. Looks like he's recovering nicely, though. That's one nice theme in general you're going to notice about this game, especially when speedrunning it, is that as opposed to the bosses largely being auto-scrollers like they are in other Mario games or just kind of platformers in general, instead you're seeing there are lots of cool speedrun strats in order to just get in hits early, end invincibility phases. They don't just feel like auto-scrollers. Johanian, ooh, that was a very early hit here he had on the hat. Ivan with a clean fight. SWC and Johanian both having a little bit of problems up there on the top screen, but still able to get it. Not too much of an issue. Krameht now going for it, trying to not get too far behind Ivan. Looks like he had a very good fight as well, so.
Yeah, all things considered, he's not too far behind Ivan here.
Yeah. He certainly is staying within striking distance, despite the frustrating bird mishaps.
Certainly. If he just holds on until around Lost Kingdom, Metro Kingdom time, there's a lot that can happen in those kingdoms that could certainly put him right back in the lead.
And yes, I don't believe any of the clips have been patched. We didn't see any clips today. There's only one currently that we think is useful for any percent. But regardless, here we are into the Wooded Kingdom. I've been taking a bonk early on. Obviously, bonks are pretty slow, wasting, a 1.5 to 2 seconds. Even more if it's done in the water, so you want to avoid those as much as possible. But didn't have too much trouble with the bunny. Was able to roll straight into him. Very nice work there. And now SWC, let's see how his bunny goes. Able to roll out, going into P speed, maintaining that momentum, heading into the bunny as well. So able to maintain his lead off of the bunny as well. And one of the 2 shop moons that you actually buy, every kingdom has, well, almost every kingdom in this game has a shop moon that you can buy for 100 coins. It's basically a replacement for 100 coin stars or moons in earlier games, or 100 coin stars. So that's why we want to make sure we have 200 coins throughout the run so we can buy 2 of those.
So someone just asked in chat, does the language save much time? Yes, Japanese does save around 12 to 13 seconds over English, seconds over the other Chinese languages. So it's definitely a very easy time save to just switch the language in the settings.
Could potentially see some different routing choices here. Some will elect to go up and hit this checkpoint before jumping down to the Fuzzy's Pipe. Others will elect to go down to the Fuzzy's Pipe first, but then you have to do, it's about a second faster from what I understand, to do the climb back up instead, do the Fuzzy's Pipe first. But your movement has to be very good in order to actually get that time save. So definitely an easier route just to go up like Ivan's doing. And if there is one mistake you want to avoid in a tournament match, it is accidentally falling down there. Because it unfortunately doesn't kill you. It sends you to the deep woods, which will waste quite a bit of time.
Yeah, you can't warp out of the deep woods section, so you actually have to go find one of the little guys that dispense a seed so you can plant it and get a stock that takes you back up to the normal section of the level. And all of that can... I haven't timed it. I don't know how long it takes, but I'd imagine probably like close to a minute.
It does look like, yeah, as I said, SWC electing to go the climb route. Having a little bit of trouble with it, though, so automatically it is not faster than just doing the regular, doing the checkpoint strats where you warp back up. We'll see if any of the players can potentially have a good Fuzzy's Pipe here. It's a very advanced strat to try to be able to do the end of this without the water rising up. Doesn't look like we're going to see it from any of the players. Johanian, he had a shot for it. Yeah, you really got to get to that platform before the water starts coming up. It's also a little mechanic we haven't really been talking about, but you want to avoid taking damage, which sounds obvious, but in addition to the time you waste from just bonking, taking the damage, every time you then get a moon, anything besides a multi-moon, it's then going to refill your health to full. And even if you were just at 2 health instead of the full 3, it wastes over 2 seconds. So it ends up becoming, in a lot of ways, you can see it being like close to 5 seconds that you lose for taking a hit, which is incredibly punishing in a game this context. You can see how close these racers are.
Specifically, 2.2 seconds to heal from 2 hearts to full, 2.5 seconds to heal from 3 hearts to full, plus the 1.9 seconds from bonking from taking damage, and then whatever movement momentum you did lose from the damage.
Right. Ivan getting this moon in the tower. He then is going to try to go for a little bit of a skip right here. Is able to get it first try. That sometimes can be a bit of a... Oh! Ivan dropping down, though. Trying to go for the more advanced strat where you raise up with the uproot there, the enemy he has control of, and then instead jumping out of the capture and diving out of it. So was able to recover pretty fast though. The uproot gives you plenty of time to get back up to him. Avoided disaster there, falling all the way down.
And on the boss right now, once again, Odyssey if there wasn't a very fast skip to it. So quickly taking out the second brutal we fight here, stomping on its head to skip the attack phases. All the bosses we do fight 90% are pretty short, with the exception of a couple. But
Johanian having a little bit of trouble with the uproot here. There, he's got it.
Also went for the jump out of it. Was not able to get it either. Didn't have as big of a mistake as Ivan there, though, getting back into him, so not losing as much time, but starting to let this gap between him and SWC get a little bigger than he wants. I think given that early pause, trying to skip that cutscene as early as possible. So again, the situation we've got here in these matches, we got Ivan, if he's able to win this match with Krameht, then he will be guaranteed a spot in the bracket portion that'll start next month, likely after AGDQ. Krameht, this is actually his first match of the tournament, so he doesn't necessarily have anything on the line here. But certainly he can, if he was able to pull off this upset, it would make that entire Group M look pretty crazy, kind of a lot of chaos. You wouldn't know who'd be getting out at that point. Whereas with SWC, I know he is sitting at a 1-1 bracket, or 1-1 record right now. Taking a loss to Cookie Apocalypse, but having a win over Steven1704 of SMW fame, actually. So 2 wins doesn't guarantee that you'll get into the bracket portion. Unless someone does go 3-0. So, he wouldn't necessarily be able to guarantee himself a spot, but it's much better than being 1-2 for sure. In a lot of ways, you could see between SWC and Johanian, the winner of this probably has a good shot of moving into the bracket portion, and the loser is going to be very much behind the 8 ball. Here we are in our first of 2 Bowser fights. I don't think I'll be seeing any super advanced strats from any of these players. There's pretty crazy strat where instead of waiting for these hats, you can actually kind of get up on top of Bowser, take damage, and then hit the hats immediately. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but it does save a decent chunk of time once you learn it.
Also very risky, though, as if you and then sit in the hat during vulnerability frames to get it as soon as it's able with a hitbox, but run out of invulnerability frames, soft lock the game and just be floating in the air with your hat until Bowser attacks you, which takes like 20 seconds. So it's super risky. Go for it here.
Yeah, probably not something we'll see much of in a tournament setting.
Ooh, Ivan barely making that jump. There's a lot of different methods for how to work with that tree. Him going for more of the Shaden method, where you sort of do almost like a hybrid of a triple jump in a way to get up and barely make that distance up to the tiny platform to the side with the regional coins. Looks like SWC going more for the crank dud method, as I've seen. Ooh, not quite getting the height he likes off that tree. So he's going to be going for the smaller platform as well. Is able to make it. In general, Lost Kingdom is a kingdom where there aren't any like quote unquote story moons, so it's just all just get 10 fast moons and get out of here. However, there is this bird Klepto that Ivan just went by right there that we want to avoid at all costs. If you just kind of walk through the kingdom normally, like not using that tree strat at the beginning we used, then you're probably going to walk over a barrier that walk over a cutscene trigger, I should say, that's going to spawn him, and then he'll grab Cappy, he'll steal him from you, and it's a very slow sequence where you have to save him, wasting well over 30 seconds, even if done well. So very much something you want to avoid at all costs, and us walking by Klepto right there, the bird, it actually triggers him to think he has captured Cappy, to where now he won't trigger anywhere based on all these spots we're walking by, especially here at the end of the level. Ivan going right under the bridge, see if he's going to go for the Deathless strat right here. He is going to try to go for it, and he is able to get it.
Very nicely done. I believe getting the Deathless ending there saves you only maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but it also allows you to keep 10 coins, because you lose 10 coins every time you die.
An interesting reroute there by Krameht, actually electing to go for Cave Gardening, which was elected basically the 11th or 12th moon, however you want to look at it, in terms of the 10 we need. So that likely means he's probably going to not go for the risky bridge under the bridge strat like Ivan went for there. So he'll likely just get one of these last couple of moons and then just either warp to the Odyssey or run to it. Probably a negligible difference either way.
Yeah, I think counting his moon total, I wasn't fully watching his perspective, but I believe he took an easier path up the mountain and decided to skip the mountain ground pound moon. He will still go for under the bridge.
So he skipped the tree jump at the beginning.
Jump, use the cage gold box instead. So, I've been coming up here on nighttime Metro. Metro Kingdom is one of the biggest, but it doesn't get very big until we beat the boss in nighttime Metro. It's required. We can't find 20 moons here, unfortunately.
There's only like another 2 moons, I believe, active that we could collect, which we'll collect both of them in day Metro. It's slightly faster to wait to grab them there. You can see one on Ivan's screen there that he just ran right by. Again, slightly faster getting in the daytime. This is a big room right here, Ivan going for.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different strats that people use to get up to the top of Town Hall here.
Yeah, his movement was a little slow. He wasn't quite able to get underneath that platform.
Nice.
And it kind of seems no matter what you do in this room, you're playing it risky. So you just have to figure out what's most comfortable for you. And because if you die here, if you fall here, it's usually going to wind up being a death, which is really one of the only areas of the game that's like that. It's very punishing if you manage to mess up.
And then
A terrifying
It's up
jump.
there nicely.
And unfortunately, Krameht had some troubles there. I believe took 2 more deaths than he meant to, which puts him in an even worse situation coin-wise that we had talked about. I don't believe he took the Sphinx route. Every time you die in this game, while there aren't lives, you do lose 10 coins, which, in casual play means almost nothing because there's so many coins. But with how little we're actually picking up coins, that is potentially an even worse situation for him than initially seems as a time loss.
SWC falls all the way back down to the bottom and takes a death. That's really unfortunate. He was just getting ready to make the final jump.
Was he able to collect the moon? I wasn't looking at his screen.
Yeah, he collected the moon and then fell when he was trying to make the jump across the gap.
The frustrating thing is getting the moon really doesn't make any... You're still going to go up the same route.
Right.
Opting to take it a bit safer this time. Doesn't want to mess it up again.
So if Johanian can get up first try here, he'll have made up quite a bit of time, and we'll almost be back to even, really. To the point where a good Wiggler fight could really swing it back to a Johanian lead.
Yeah, a good Wiggler fight. If anyone was watching Ivan's stream there.
Yeah, I didn't
Really
think he was
nice
going to be able to get it. They were all kind of wedged together, which makes it weird. If you generally in the Mecha Wiggler fight, if you're able to shoot one of the kind of orbs that you need to break, it'll break them the two that it's connected to. But if it's all kind of wrapped up like that, it doesn't break the other ones that are around it. So it's hard visually to understand which ones you're going to break.
Yeah, there's not too much RNG in this game, but I would say the biggest instance of it is just the path that the Wiggler moves on. It can be really unpredictable, and if you're not accustomed to it, it takes a lot of practice to kind of get used to tracking its movement, getting those 2 cycles.
Ivan putting out his hat right there, and then he's going to grab the moon and then shake like a madman, which actually has the hat home in on the little power line there, allowing him to save just a little bit of travel time. Pretty cool little strat. Should see another one of those from Ivan later in the game as well. New strat that was just made up. Ooh, Ivan having a little bit of trouble with worst moon in the game, RC moon. That was fine, though. I'd take that every single time.
Now, I didn't think there was a way for the RC car to get worse when I first started running this game, but recently people have come up with a strat to take the scooter and just kind of lean at the right time with the scooter and clip into that cage to grab the moon. I'll tell you what, that's even worse than trying to control that RC car.
I haven't been able to do it yet. I only tried for maybe like 15 minutes, but
yeah, I gave it a shot. But
6 seconds?
Yeah, somewhere around 6 seconds, if done perfectly.
SWC, the next player to get out of the Mecha Wiggler, the night time of Metro phase. Johanian not too far behind. He's gonna... At this point, this race is close enough. He'd really like to get a 2-cycle himself here to keep pace with SWC.
It's looking good so far.
Oh, yeah. Very good-looking Mecha Wiggler. Oh, if he can get that last one, he is able to get it. Very nice so far by the racers. We got 3 2-cycles so far. See if Krameht can give us the 4-player 2-cycle. That would not be an easy thing to see, honestly.
Yeah, it's certainly tougher than it looks.
SWC also able to get the warp. Let's see how his RC car goes as well. It might seem like a minor moon, but I've seen it cost, including myself, like 30 seconds before. He's able to get in without too much trouble. Had a little bit of a bonkage going off of that one wall right beforehand, but not too bad.
A lot of orbs to keep shooting. Really high up there.
Ooh, oh, he's got a couple. I don't think he's going to be able to get it. No, he had 1 or 2 left. I couldn't tell if he got the head or not.
Just missed. It's unfortunate. Shoot out of the walls again, and thankfully only once, but...
Yeah, thankfully it's not terribly punishing, but in a race like this, as you can see, like you're not seeing really any deaths from these players, or like at least not too many deaths. Yeah, he's got just the 1 he's still got to shoot. He's able to snipe it halfway through, so... A mistake like that costs a ton of time in the context of a race like this. Ivan bonking there, though, giving him a little bit more of a window of opportunity. SWC about to climb up himself, up to this top of City Hall. The climb here is very sophisticated. There's lots of different strats you can see for it. I like you to go for a cat throw just to give himself elongated in the air for just a little bit longer. Yeah, going for kind of a more vanilla strat right there, going up each of the platforms. But clean nonetheless, so certainly something he'll take. Kind of fell for a while there. Yep. He elects to get almost horizontal with it before he dives into it. Now Johanian also not too far behind, certainly within striking distance of this race after getting that 2-cycle Mecha Wiggler. Just has to keep playing solid and hope SWC makes a mistake at some point.
Yes, SWC and Johanian still very close, but Ivan looks like he's starting to pull away a little bit, about to finish up Metro Kingdom here.
You know, just having PBs of approximately 7 minutes apart, based by their standards.
Yeah, and that's what the frustrating part is for Krameht, and it feels like that's for a lot of players right now that are in this 110 to up to even say like 125 region, is that the difference between a 110 and a 125 doesn't necessarily reflect your skill at the game or necessarily even your strats, but more so just how consistent you are. Because I wouldn't say Krameht looks like he's 7 minutes worse than Ivan. It's really just he had the death cycle trying to get the last moon in Lost Kingdom, and he had to back up the bird in Sand Kingdom, and the 3-cycle Mecha Wiggler. Like, you can kind of point at 3 main reasons that 36 minutes into this race, why there is this gap.
Right. There's maybe only like a minute or two of actual movement ability difference between the two. It's just, I would agree, it's definitely the consistency that you learn over time.
Saw someone in chat ask what the estimated time was for these runners. Ivan's personal best sitting at a high 110. His personal best is around a 113.55. Johanian has a 117 flat, and Krameht has a high 117. So around those times for.
Yeah, we should see by the hour 20 mark, all 4 of these players should have this race in the books. So we're, roughly halfway through this race, I would say.
Yeah, I've noticed quite a few of the racers have been able to pull off runs within 2 minutes or so of their personal best.
And Ivan, the only player you can see here not in the Metro Kingdom, into the Snow Kingdom, picking up his last shot moon right here. And one of my favorite parts of the run, just that for whatever reason in this shop specifically, you only have to walk in like 2 steps, and you can still talk to the shop owner from there and buy the moon.
Yeah, a lot of the NPCs in this game having very large text triggers.
So that's the last time we have to worry about. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I can say the bassist in Metro, which Johanian just got the moon from, there have been many times where I dove and landed and started talking to him, and when the camera shifted to for that little cutscene where he's talking, Mario isn't even on the screen, so you can talk to NPCs from really far away for whatever reason.
Execution by Ivan there, getting on top of this archway.
So it looks like all 3 runners so far are going to Snow before Seaside. And I think all 3 of them got the Sphinx, which would be the reason why. But Krameht, once he finishes up Metro in a minute here, he's going to want to elect to go to Seaside first to get some more coins so that he has enough to buy the Shop Moon and Snow.
Yeah, I would have almost recommended that on his way to the basis, there's a dumpster with 50 coins in it. I would have almost said he probably should have gone there first. I don't see what his coin count is right now, but he needs 100 to buy the Shop Moon and Snow.
I know there's at least like 50 or so you can get in Seaside, and even more if you go just a little bit out of your way. So he should be okay, as long as he has 30 or 40 or so at minimum.
Are you talking about the dumpster that is right after the drummer if you kind of take that corner?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't actually know there were coins in there.
So use that reference. I hate going
503 routing, baby. That's how we know. That is one thing. I mean, it's kind of an underrated thing that people don't talk about in speedrunning in general. That I always recommend if you want to speedrun a game, even if you don't want to speedrun the 100% categories, even if you just want to do any percent, just casually going through and knowing where everything is such a great tool to understand. Because right there, he could say, "Oh, I'm down a ton of coins." See, so Krameht actually went to Snow first.
Oh, gotta wonder if that was intentional or not.
I gotta imagine maybe he's not thinking about it or something, but he absolutely will not have enough coins.
Yeah,
so he's gonna have to do
47
a
here.
different route.
This will be a struggle.
Yeah, at this point, I would say the backup to this backup to the backup would be he just should. I would have not grabbed Captain, you get Captain Toad. Don't do the shop moon and don't do the moon that's in the room with the boss fight. Instead, go do the 2 in the moon shards room.
That's what I did on my PB yesterday because I was spamming A little bit too fast and accidentally hit Snow.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Sometimes you put that you hit down to go down to Seaside and the input just doesn't take for whatever reason. And he doesn't even grab those coins on that little ledge there, so there's a stack of 10 coins right to his right here if he breaks this box. We'll see if he knows about that.
At this point, he has to not even worry about. Okay, yeah, hopefully he kind of understands that he's going to have to just not get the coins. He might already be thinking that. We're kind of guessing as the commentators here.
Or maybe he even has some kind of backup moon that he can get other than the shop.
Again, the problem with Snow is that there just aren't a lot of options when you first get here.
Yeah.
I've been having a little bit of trouble with this first major jump in Seaside. He's able to get up there second try. The first half of Seaside Kingdom ends up being a lot of just normal Mario platforming. We'll particularly see it coming up here in the up cave, people call it. I know Ivan would have a lot of troubles with this, so we'll see how he's able to respond here.
Again, about Snow just not having any options is that for each kingdom, once you do beat the main sort of storyline for that kingdom, whether it be beating all the bosses or in Snow Kingdom's case, beating all 4 rooms and then doing the race in section afterwards, it unlocks more moons and sort of changes the kingdom in a way. And for Snow, what that does is it overworld part of Snow, snowstorm, hail sort of mess, and that unlocks around 20 moons, but gonna do that 90% as the race is very slow, and so we're forced to choose from a selection of around 13 to 14 moons and have to pick 10 out from that, so there really isn't just a good backup here.
Ooh, I've been having a little bit of trouble here with Seaside. Had a bit of trouble with the up cave, and then also missed the initial note. If you're gonna miss the initial note, well, I guess he missed the initial note. I was gonna say if you miss one of the notes just on the line, you're just gonna have to reset that moon. So that kind of ends the platforming section of this kingdom. Now he's gonna be heading over to grab a cheat sheet, and then utilize that for all the rest of the moons. Definitely a solid run by Ivan here. Again, regardless of how much you're ahead or behind in any of these races, you also want to just keep playing well all the way throughout, because however well you do in all your races, all your collective times is going to determine the seeding once we get to the bracket phase in January. All right, so we'll see here. Yeah, okay. Johanian Krameht was able to pick up on the concept. Just screw both of those 2 other moons, go in and do moon shards. This used to be a part of the route just because, like we were saying, there just aren't a lot of options in this kingdom. But then I believe it was Pi who came up with the idea, let's get Captain Toad and the moon that's in the room with the Rango fight, the rabbit fight. And that replaced these 2 moons. So overall, not a bad backup.
Around 15
Ooh.
seconds slower, but that's going to make it a lot slower there, unfortunately.
Yeah, the unfortunate situation though when you're having to do these backups is, do you understand them? Do you know how often? No one practices unless you're doing the higher percentage categories, which I'm not sure if Krameht does. You don't know what's the best way to move through these rooms.
So Ivan actually on pace for a really solid run right now. I'd say he's on pace for a 111 or 112 or so.
Yeah, let's see here. He had a high 44 coming out of snow. Or coming out of Seaside, I should say. Yeah.
That even has 110 potential, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say he's even 110 if he plays like really, really well. I'm just looking at my splits to have some sort of reference. That
Yeah,
puts
that's
him,
what I'm doing.
yeah, a solid 40, 45 seconds ahead of my 112.18. So, yeah, which mine definitely didn't have a great Bowser. So, yeah, certainly if he plays super well from here. He's played well so far in the tournament. He's got 2 111s, I believe, in his tournament matches. So to get 3 111s off his skill level would be really good going into the bracket seeding.
Yeah, that would potentially give him a very high seed.
Yeah. It says he's 26 seconds above his PB going to Seaside, and his PB is a 110.40, so...
Oh, wow. So
it's on
even
pace
low
for the
110 pace.
Ooh, did Johanian get all the notes? He did not, unfortunately. He really can't afford mistakes like that right now. The gap between him and SWC getting larger and larger. Again, more than likely, the way this will turn out is the winner of the top match is probably set to go to the bracket phase, and the loser is going to have a lot of work to do. If Johanian loses this is only his first match, but he'd then have to pull an upset of Cookie Apocalypse. And win his other match as well to give himself a shot. And then it likely at that point would still come down to tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Another just kind of required story moon you're seeing there from Ivan taking out Spirit for the second time. Basically the exact same fight if you're doing the speedrun strats. But just a lot of other moons aren't active until you beat him, so...
Speaking of Johanian's time, actually, sorry. Just looking at his individual stream and his live split pulled up ahead right now.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if his PB is only a 117, I could definitely see him being ahead right now.
And that's something we've seen a lot is racers maybe not winning their race, but getting really solid PBs, which is always... You know, you can't really complain about that too much in a race setting if you beat your best time.
Yeah, you get your PB. I've always said if I came within a minute of my PB, then I can't really complain. It's just, okay, I had to be...
Yeah,
I had to be
kind of did all you could.
Yeah.
It's really up to your opponent at that point.
And yeah, if you full on just PB, then it's like, well, okay. I was just a little outmatched that day. Alright, so Johanian being able to finish up Seaside himself has unfortunately dug a little bit of a gap for him. Just kind of, I don't think a lot of big things in the top race, just kind of that, you know, it's about a 3-minute gap in PBs, and we're just kind of seeing it from a lot of little things all over the place.
Yeah, I think both of the top racers fell once in Town Hall, but other than that, neither of them has really made any major mistakes, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think any deaths for them. Both of them got the 2-cycle Mecha Wiggler. Certainly not a race that's over, but he needs to... And he's really, at this point, rooting for SWC to make just... He needs to start having some mistakes, some notable mistakes. Yeah, by the time he gets in there and gets moving, SWC's already gonna have a good 4 moons or so.
Yeah, we do see some, or if not most of these races here just come down to whoever has the better PB coming in. As racers that do come in second to their competitor will PB, and then it's just
I will say personally, I think Bowser's Kingdom is by far the hardest kingdom in the game.
Yes.
So we can certainly see some crazy stuff happen there. If someone manages to die to the Mecha Wiggler fight, that could put them back quite a bit of time. So, you know, neither of these races are really over, but...
Ooh, Johanian having a little bit of trouble. This could be a little wonky getting up to this platform. Made the smart decision that time and just went up the north side as opposed to trying to head to the right.
Yeah, sometimes when you try to wall kick off those pillars on the wall, it kind of knocks you down at a weird angle and sends you back down instead of kicking outward.
I also just noticed somewhere along the way, I don't know where he would have got it, but SWC has 6 health. I don't know where that came from.
Man. Yeah, I've never explored where those heart containers are because they're not particularly useful.
Yeah, we
think
never
he
get them in
accidentally
any
bought it.
percent. He accidentally bought it? Oh, what?
Snow
Oh.
Kingdom. I think he was spamming A a little bit too fast and bought the life up the corner.
I'm glad he apparently had enough coins to where it didn't matter.
Yeah, because that's 50 extra coins, so that's pretty
Yeah,
lucky that he had enough.
I'm amazed. I mean, with the Sphinx, you can get so many coins where you just don't even worry about it.
That's
Man, if that had ended up costing him, like, buying the moon, that'd have been quite hilarious.
It looks like Johanian actually took a death on the Spearward fight, so he had to come back and try it a second time, but he gets it there.
Ooh, that is certainly not what you want to see right now.
Yeah.
We see Krameht missing an attack cycle skip here, so he's gonna have to.
Again, Krameht just unfortunately making not a lot of mistakes, but when he's making them, they're pretty big. I'm not seeing him necessarily like bonking in a lot of places or taking damage. It's just when he's made the mistakes, they've been unfortunately just far too costly. And it's, you know, it's a race he maybe wasn't going to be able to win today anyways. Ian's playing pretty darn well. I think he's still going to keep like a good 30-second lead on my PB coming into this. So certainly on 111 pace, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say 110 is still possible for him if he played perfectly, but it looks like he's probably going to finish with around a mid 111 or so if he plays well.
Looking up at the race on top, we got SWC going into the lava bubble room right now. This is a room that certainly can cause deaths and other large mistakes. We'll see if Johanian can get a window of opportunity here. SWC getting the skip across the tomato, not losing his lava bubble. Very nice there. Now he's going to try to skip all the way across. We'll see if he elects to opt out of it. Yeah, electing to take instead the damage boost strat, which is going to waste a number of seconds just because he's going to have to see that 2.2 second health refill.
Much safer, though.
But yeah. Normally you could skip across the little platform that moves back and forth as well, but you got to hit specific angles, and if you mess it up, you die and go back to the start of the room. So you'll see a lot of players, especially in the tournament format, not elect to go for that. I like that down throw from Krameht right there as he's going over the box.
Starting the Ruin Kingdom boss, Dark Souls Dragon, Skyrim Dragon, whatever you want to call it. One of the only really auto-scroller bosses in Odyssey here. Not much time saves to be had.
Yeah, just about the only thing you can do here is jump up onto the dragon and take some damage and use your iframes to kind of sit up there and pull off one of those swords from his head at the earliest possible frame. But yeah, this is a consistent fight. You don't see people typically losing more than 10 seconds or so in this area.
Yeah, you'll see different preferences. Like, I know Ivan's in the group that likes to do the damageless version of these strats. So he just tries to time it for as soon as they become active. That's when he times his jump to get up there and then throw his cap to grab onto the first of those swords or pegs or whatever they are. So Johanian, an entire kind of phase of moons. He's still a full 7 moons behind SWC. That gap in skill really starting to show itself off, and that death to Stewart, definitely not something he could have afforded at this point. He's going to need SWC to either have, 1 or 2 very bad deaths or take a couple of plunges. With Bowser, we got Mecha Brutal. It's good because at least a lot of the skill in this game, a lot of the potential time loss is later in the run, so you certainly could see time loss from here.
Yeah, it really adds that comeback factor.
Yeah. A lot of speedruns can fall into the problem of just being a little bit more front-loaded, that once you hit a certain spot, it's just impossible to make a comeback of any sort.
Oh, and Johanian takes another death. That's
unfortunate.
Lava Bubble Room is certainly one where you can see that. Ooh, and then miss the early Lava Bubble cycle capture. Lava Bubbles are, there are a couple of people who prefer to actually, instead of do the Lava Bubble Room, they'll do a fork room where you get 2 different moons, which optimally is actually faster by a good second, according to Shaden, the current world record holder. But you're going to have to do some pretty extensive motion controls with up throws and such.
Yeah. Up throws are kind of the one thing with motion controls that I can never seem to get to work consistently when I want them to. So I think a lot of people have trouble with it as well. So most people tend to avoid that room and do the Lava Bubble room instead.
See, that's funny because I'm actually not bad at up throws. I cannot do down throws. They do not exist on my... I'm pretty sure on Pro Controller they patched it out for my version. I can't do it.
Yeah, I think Pro Controller in general, those directional throws are much tougher than using Joy-Cons, but the pros of the Pro Controller, if you will, are just... Other than that, just outweigh it.
Interesting different strat right here. We got a new moon that's being collected now. Instead of the glory hole, as we call it, Ivan grabbing this. Probably the only player you'll see go for that today. It's a pretty darn new strat where you drop down from the wall, you bring the Pokio up with you as you would normally, and then drop down, hold your cap out like we did at the beginning of the daytime Metro segment, and then grab the moon and then shake to capture the Pokio and then warp yourself back up to the top. Saving yourself a few seconds over doing a little bit slower moon later in the run. Not going to be seeing that glory hole, at least on Ivan's screen. You'll still see a lot of people use the other strat, but I'm definitely a fan of this new strat. I definitely think everyone should switch over because it's a pretty low-risk situation. Even if you mess it up, there's another Pokio down there that you can use to reclimb the wall, so you basically just break even at that point.
It's a very cool-looking strat when you pull it off as well.
For sure.
Board back up.
It's just such a good strat at the beginning of Metro. You think, man, that needs to be in more places.
Yeah.
So nice to see them finding another usage of that. Ivan having a little bit of trouble down there in the Spiny pen. Spiny's secretly one of the worst enemies in this game because you can't capture him, you can't kill him. Just gotta knock him off the sides of stuff.
True final boss.
Ivan electing to go the non-Pokio route, though. Ooh, is that 1 health here? Needs to be a little bit careful. Needs to not take a hit to like a bomb or something. That bomb's right over him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right there.
Yeah, okay.
Bomb pull out, that was real fast, yeah.
Bit of a disaster that Ivan avoided right there. If he would have died, I always mix up the spawn properties in this game, but I'm pretty sure the moon would have still been there. He just would have had to get back to it, which I don't know the last time he would have had a checkpoint.
I think it would have been right where SWC is right now, where you grab this moon, unless he grabbed the checkpoint right at the end of the next zip line.
And again, guys, hope you guys are enjoying the Super Mario Odyssey tournament races. We got 2 matches on for you guys right now. And we already had a couple of races before this, and we're going to have a couple more races after this. Kind of kind of your first weekend, true weekend of Super Mario Odyssey any percent matches. People getting in all these Fools matches. Ivan able to get that first jump on Topper, like the first fight of the game. See if he can get the second one a little tighter. Wasn't able to get it. Now he's got to run around. You can actually listen for Topper. He makes a louder noise whenever you're close to him. Ivan looking around everywhere. Okay, he's able to finally get to him.
I can never pick out Topper from just the noise alone, but after a while, you tend to get good at noticing, like, when he starts to disperse, like when all the hats start to disperse, you can tell which one he's in. And if you follow it around, you can also find it that way.
I never really thought of just looking for it like that. If I didn't hear him, it was spray and pray, dude. I was just throwing my hat.
If you manage to stomp on one of the hats next to him from when he first goes down, when they disperse, you'll actually see like a gap between two hats where the one that you bounced on would have been. And if you notice that, you can kind of pick out, okay, he's one of these two that are next to this gap. That's what I tend to do anyways.
Nah, it seems like a good method. There's a lot to understand because it's pretty difficult to every single time get that jump on the hat. So
yeah, I would say
understand a way to not lose 15 seconds there every time is good.
Personally, that second Topper fight is the hardest brutal fight for me.
Just finding that hat, and it's a lot harder than the first one, as there's like 12 hats instead of 3.
Yeah, and an extra phase as well.
So you might wonder, why are these players electing to get all these just individual little single moons, or not all of them, but these like couple. This is the only kingdom where it's kind of bizarre. They just don't tell you how many moons you need. They just you need 8, as it turns out. It doesn't tell you till after you beat the Mecha Brutal fight, the final boss of this kingdom. So you get 6 from story moons. So you just need another 2 from there. I've been able to make the climb up to this Pokio. Hasn't taken any checkpoints, so any deaths here would cost quite a bit of time. Awesome strat there, though. Learned that from Shaden. And SWC able to finish off the Topper by himself. Ooh, Johanian, though, taking another death, unfortunately. Starting to playing a little tighter right now, understanding he's behind.
I think SWC actually died in that same place, so he won't lose too much time, but he certainly could have done with the time saved there.
Yeah, that's when you're behind by this much. It still might as well. It's a pseudo time loss.
Yeah.
And Ivan's coming up on Mecha Brutal here. If there's a boss in this game and the name has Mecha in it, you're in for a long one. Definitely a lot of opportunity for. He's able
to clear the jump. Who had a bit of a mishap right there.
All right.
He's able to get the second hit.
Looks like he goes for the yellow brutal for the second hit, something I don't usually see often, but
I always go for the yellow second. I thought that was the common strat. You're saying that's actually not the common strat?
I used to go for the yellow, but I go for the green second now because I think it makes getting an early hit on the third phase much easier.
Oh, okay.
Because the yellow guy, like, when you get on for the third phase, he does that kind of like a reel back before he spins around and shoots the hoops out. And I find it personally easier to time like ground pound while he's doing that reel back onto the yellow guy as opposed to the green guy.
Oh, all right.
The yellow guy, yeah, because as long as you can get back on for both cycles, then it's not super hard to do that. It's just.
But yeah, that's kind of just another preference thing where it doesn't particularly matter which order you ground pound them in.
I might have to look into that though, just to make that third hit fast. But regardless, Ivan having a very good fight there, having a very good run overall. Krameht probably wasn't going to be able to keep up today anyways with the pace Ivan's on. But still, I'm sure Krameht will also tell you he should have done much better. SWC doing one of the last big platforming sections in the run, trying to make his way up here to the Pokio. And SWC in the same boat. Even if he's able to win this and give himself a really good shot of getting into the bracket phase, he still wants as good a time as well. try to up that seating as much as he can. Able to get a pretty solid Pokio climb there. Heading up to the Mecha Brutal himself. Oh, did Ivan open the door beforehand? Yeah, I think that's what that shows. SWC looks like... I didn't see the very beginning. I don't know if he elects to not go for the birdless strat. But regardless, he does have a bird right now.
To skip birdless.
Birdless does save about 10 seconds. He is electing to go for the strat. He's not going to try to poke Spewart on the side. Instead, just taking the ground pound. Alright, so we'll see if he goes green or yellow second. He goes for green second. Yeah, normally the game wants you to take the bird and then shoot back the bombs at him constantly to keep knocking him down. That's kind of the casual strat. But with well-timed cap jumps and spins in between your cap jumps, you can maintain enough height and distance even after the blowbacks to where you can get to him quickly and ground pound each of these 4 different rabbit enemies. Brutals. I couldn't think of their names. Okay.
So Ivan coming up here on Moonskip. Wall jumps. Gets it first try. Really nice. Skips a 4-minute cave segment with wall jumps that the game kind of thinks that the walls are parallel when they're not, is what I'm assuming how it works at least, but...
Yeah, I think that's probably a decent way to describe it.
He's actually, from what it looks like, on pace for a high 110.
I was going to say, this is, yeah, he's looking at only being maybe, like, say, 20 seconds off of PB right now, assuming his Bowser fight goes well.
Yeah, really impressive run from Ivan.
We can do when the racer you're racing against PBs. 6-7 minutes.
Little frustrating for Johanian. Look at this. Of course, SWC sitting here at 1 health right now. This would be what Johanian needs to get back into this. He's still got to get one more. Yeah, SWC saying, I am not letting this happen. Running all the way over to get a heart.
Yeah,
he's going to sacrifice quite a bit of time, but he's saying, I'm not going to die here.
Oh, and he almost got back up top, but took another bit of damage, so he's back down to 1 health.
Back down to 1 health.
Looks like he's got another heart sitting over there.
It is the last heart in the fight, though, so, you know, hopefully
he's got to be careful.
Yeah, I was saying he's got to play it patient here. Yeah, played that well. He's got it. Playing whack-a-mole now. If he can get this hit, he is able to get it. He is able to clear the Mecha Brutal fight. Avoided disaster. As much time as he lost there, and that'll definitely affect him in the seeding phase. If he's able to get there. Again, not guaranteed. 2-1 does not mean you're guaranteed, necessarily, to get into the bracket phase. But avoided absolute disaster. Would have not quite tied this up, but would have given Johanian that window of opportunity for sure to potentially win the race.
So I don't happen to know this, but do you guys know what tiebreaker would be if you have, say, 2 people that are 2-1 getting the second spot out?
I believe it's just the lowest total time of your 3 runs that you had.
It would be the lowest total time because there's 6 total matches in a group, and so it either goes one person is 3-0, one person's 3-0, one's 2-1, one is 1-2, and one's 0-3, and so then the 3 and the 2 move on.
Or if you have
2-1.
people at 2-1, yeah.
Right.
It'd be whoever, the 2 people with the lowest total times move on. Figures there, everyone would have 1 win against one person and 1 loss against the other.
Right.
Or there is also a situation where one person can go 3-0 and then the other 3 people can all go 1 and 2, and so then that'd be the same situation there.
Right.
Find time.
Because it's like you say, it's basically there are 6 wins to go around. Yo, shouts to Ivan going for 2D Bowser shortcut.
I think it's because he's on PB pace here. Knows that if he misses it, he won't lose the race at this point. So that's for chat, for the viewers.
I think he's still barely not, because again, his speedrun.com time is not accurate. I think he's barely not on PC
so he'll
pace.
probably miss it by 15 seconds or so.
Because I think it's about 1:05 from when anime starts, if you do it well. Maybe slightly less than that. Depends on, obviously, how optimal your fireballs are here. He's going to be shooting to the right while moving left. He wants to get, ideally, somewhere between like 3 and 4 fireball hits on that bottom right pillar. Each of the pillars have 5 health. So now he's going to be shooting across as he runs across. Once you get up on top of a pillar, though, you want to start slashing instead, just because there's going to be no downtime in between your slashes, even though they do the same amount of damage. Now he's going to start shooting to that bottom right pillar. It looks like that's probably enough. Yep. Broke the last one. He's up. You're always safe once you get up here. All you got to do is avoid some damage while you're slashing. Yeah, very just... unfortunate race by Krameht, but he wasn't going to beat Ivan today. Ivan just ripping team farts. All right, 110.49 by Ivan. I will try not to show my bias there the whole race. Waited till then. But very, very strong performance by Ivan. 110.49, probably one of the top times in the tournament right now, period.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually interested to see what the top times have been.
Personally, I haven't seen anyone get better than a 110 yet, but I've seen a few 110s.
I can scroll through real fast here. I think I Am Tendo looks like one of his times 10s. Oddmay got a 110.58. Got a 109.12.
Oh, there's been a 109.12? Who got that?
Apocalypse. I think he owns the record in Dark Side.
Well, he just lost. I know Samurai just got the sub 2 today. But yeah, regardless, Cookie Apocalypse is a very accomplished runner. I believe also runs Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately, it looks like Krameht electing to just take the forfeit instead. Maybe a little frustrated with some of the mistakes today. Maybe seeing his opponent has already finished. That does, again, for the purpose of tiebreakers, that's a bad thing to let happen, just because now I believe anyone who forfeits gets just a automated 2-hour time. So if it does come down to tiebreakers in his bracket, that's going to hurt him quite a bit. Because let me see here, like, that's going to be Group M. And Ivan's going to be sitting there 3-0. The other 3 runners are all going to be at 0-1, but again, it definitely puts... Krameht basically is in a situation where he'd have to win his other 2 matches now with taking that forfeit. Because definitely the second spot in Group H is very much up for grabs between you, Feinberg, Dide, and Krameht. All of you sitting at 0-1.
It'll come down to whoever can outperform the other 2. Ivan's has a guaranteed spot now in the bracket.
Johanian able to, I believe that was a first try moon skip for him right there. So very nicely done. That was a skip that I know I personally found pretty inconsistent. It was about a 50-50 thing for me at best. And then one day I just learned some positioning, and then it just turned into, all right, as long as I line it up, it's like maybe like an 80% consistent trick for me now. So I think for most higher level runners, you're going to see they're going to nail it first try, at worst second.
I think at first it's a really perplexing trick to kind of understand. But once you get that basic understanding of it, it like you said, it's one day it just kind of clicks for you.
And looks like if SWC doesn't mess up anything in the escape sequence, he will have the win over Johanian here.
Oh.
Again, this won't guarantee SWC moving on. Last time I'm going to point that out. This will likely put him at 2-1, so At this point, he's just rooting for Cookie Apocalypse just to go ahead and win his matches. Unless he wants that 1 seed, then he'll be rooting for him to not. But again, this was also Johanian's first match, so not over for him, but going to be in a situation where now he has to win his last 2 matches. Tiebreakers won't be able to help him at this point.
So someone in chat said, if you're 2-1 in the round, it's impossible not to advance. Just a little bit earlier, if 3 players are 2-1 and 1 player is 0-3, then tiebreakers will come down to decide players move on, and 1 person who has 2-1 will not. So.
Yeah, you have to imagine there are 6 total wins to give out in a given pool, so 3 players could go 2-1. So yeah, it is very much possible at 2-1 that you could not get in. You could lose to tiebreakers. At which point it'll come down to who had the better performances across the 3 runs. And with that, SWC is able to get out 1:15:43. We'll call it on his screen. We'll see what the SRL time is. That's what we will be going by.
Gonna pull in Ivan and Krameht here, both for a little post-game talk interview, as you will. How's it going?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
Hashtag Team Farts. I was getting that out of the way. getting that out of the way early. Well, that was quite a performance, Ivan. How are you? I mean, I know after our race last night, I was like, oh, Ivan's a little rusty right now. Hadn't played the game for a week.
I mean, I'm pretty mad about it, so.
You're pretty mad about the race you just had? You
yeah.
missed PB by like, what, 7-8 seconds or so? What's your PB again?
9, yeah. It's a 1:10:40.
Get that out of the way. Oh, let me. I'm here. I'm here. Echo. So yeah, I mean, I guess tell me about it then, because from our standpoint, every time we look down, we're like, okay. I mean, we did notice some mistakes here and there, but obviously we're looking at 4 screens. I mean, what were the parts that particularly frustrated you?
I missed Dino Bounce, which I figured was gonna happen after the race we did last night, where I spent a minute trying to get it. So it's whatever. That's what it is. A lot of just really sloppy play until Metro, honestly. I was just losing time everywhere. And did you see my Mecha Wiggler? Because I thought I had no chance of getting the 2 cycle.
100% no chance. I saw that because
when he's all coiled up like that, you can't hit some of his parts. Like the other ones block it. So I was like, all right, well this is just 3 cycles. So I was just shooting randomly, and then I don't know, he died. So that's cool.
I didn't want to call you out. I figured I'd let you call. I was like, this dude got so lucky. There's no.
Oh yeah, I did not deserve that at all.
Hey, sometimes the spray and pray works.
Hey man, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. You'll take it. So I guess that kind of evens out the T-Rex jump missing. So.
Yeah, and I had a really good snow, and then I spent like 20-30 seconds in the up cave, so that was fun.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know you had some troubles there in Seaside, kind of opening up the window of opportunity. Yeah. So I know you kind of elected to take this strategy where you got all 3 of your matches out. Obviously, we're going to be out of town next week on boot camp. Is there any part of you now that you've done your 3 matches? Are you happy with your decision to get them all out of the way early? Is there a part of you that, I mean, you're one of the few people who's actually done with group phases now. You're probably the first one actually done. There are a lot of people who haven't even done their first. Maybe you got some people taking a strategy where they're going to try to get better throughout the month and then do all their matches around Christmas time. Is there any part of you that kind of regrets maybe not even saving one of them till later? Or, I mean, what's your feeling on that?
Not really. I wanted to get him out of the way before I left town, so I don't know.
Yeah. Should still be, I think at the times you posted, again, we were talking about 1:10:49, probably one of the strongest times in the tournament posted so far. Again, a lot of matches to go.
Yeah.
But I think this, regardless, at 3-0 and having all those times, probably averaging a lowish 111 should probably put you at a pretty good spot in the seeding. So,
yeah.
Probably not too much to worry about either way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my times overall in the group stage, because the night before, like, seeding was set in stone, I was like desperately trying to even get a 111. So the fact that I can get 2 111s and a 110 in the group stage. I'll take that.
You can get 110, just not even be happy with it. It is what it is. Some of us have 112s, dude. Slow down.
So, unfortunately, here we're gonna have to cut this interview out a bit short. Have to start up a couple new races on this channel in just a few minutes. But thank you to all 4 runners actually for definitely drop a follow on their Twitches. They put a lot of effort into dropping their times down. Very respectable from all 4 runners. Drop a follow on my co-commentators, Curvis and Spike. They both run the game. Both have pretty good times running the game, actually, if I do say so.
Curvis, what's your time?
109.52.
Oh no! Why are you so good?
It's a good time. It's all right. You know?
All right, we're gonna have to go to boot camp next week. All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching. There's going to be a lot more Odyssey today.
We'll see you guys later. Like very soon.